They say money doesn't buy happiness, but try telling that to someone who's drowning in bills, rent overdue, and dreams slowly fading under the weight of debt. This is the story of Daniel Gray, a man who worked harder than anyone he knew, yet somehow never seemed to get ahead. Until one night, everything changed. Daniel's alarm rang every morning at 5:30. He'd wake up, get dressed, and catch the early train to the city. He worked at a job he didn't love, but it paid the bills. Barely. Every month the same story. Paycheck in, bills out, and nothing left to show. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't reckless. He just thought, like many people do, that if he worked harder, someday things would turn around. But money doesn't reward hard work alone. It rewards understanding. One rainy Thursday evening, Daniel missed his train. While waiting, he noticed an older man sitting nearby, calm, composed, reading a small leather-bound book. His clothes were simple, but his presence radiated quiet confidence. The man looked up and smiled. "Rough day?" he asked. Daniel nodded. "Always is. No matter how much I work, it's never enough." The man chuckled softly. "Then maybe it's not about how much you work, but how you think about money." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" The man closed his book. "7 habits," he said. 7 habits that keep most people poor, and 7 that make the rich free," the man began. "First," he said, "the poor spend impulsively. They buy emotions, relief, comfort, status, without realizing it." Daniel thought of his morning coffee runs, the weekend takeouts, the online shopping carts that whispered, "You deserve this." "The rich," the man continued, "spend intentionally. Every dollar has a job. If it doesn't serve the mission, it doesn't get spent." Daniel looked away ashamed. He knew he was guilty. "The second habit," said the old man, "is saving what's left after spending." Daniel laughed bitterly. "What's there to save?" "There's nothing left." The man smiled. "That's exactly the problem. The rich save before they spend. They pay themselves first, automatically, consistently. No matter how small the amount, Daniel wrote it down in his mind. Pay yourself first. "The third habit," the man said, "is living with only one stream of income." Daniel tilted his head. "I've only got my job. Isn't that enough?" "Would you stand on one leg your entire life?" the man asked. "One job means one risk. The rich build multiple streams, investments, side businesses, dividends. They plant seeds so they're never at the mercy of one paycheck." Daniel sat quietly. He'd never thought of money that way, like a tree that grows only if you plant more than one seed. "The fourth habit," the man continued, "is ignorance. The poor avoid learning about money because they think it's complicated." Daniel sighed. "It is complicated." The man shook his head. "Only until you start. The rich make learning about money a lifelong game. Reading, watching, asking, experimenting. You can't win a game you don't understand." Daniel nodded slowly. "I've been playing blind," he thought. "The fifth habit," said the man, "is trading time for money forever." Daniel frowned. "Isn't that what everyone does?" "Not the rich," the man said quietly. "They trade money for time. They build systems, hire people, create assets that earn while they sleep. If your money doesn't work for you, you'll always work for it." Daniel looked down at his hands. His calloused fingers told the story of a man who'd given his time to everyone but himself. "The sixth habit," the man said, "is living to impress." Daniel thought of his neighbor's new car, his friends' vacations, his own silent envy. "The poor buy to look rich. The rich buy to stay rich. They'd rather own freedom than flex status." Daniel chuckled softly. "So the rich aren't always the ones who look it?" The man smiled. "Exactly. The loudest wealth is often the weakest." "The last habit," the man said, his eyes serious now, "is waiting." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Waiting for what?" "For perfect timing. For enough money to start saving. For the right moment to invest. The poor wait for certainty. The rich act on discipline. Waiting costs more than failure." Daniel felt that one like a punch to the gut. He'd been waiting his whole life. To start. To learn. To believe he could. The train finally arrived. The man stood up, placing his book inside his coat. Daniel asked, "Who are you?" The man smiled faintly. "Just someone who learned the hard way." As he stepped onto the train, he turned back. "Remember, Daniel, money is a mirror. It reflects your habits, not your hopes." The doors closed and the train disappeared into the night. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He replayed every word, every lesson, every habit. By morning, he opened a new bank account and automated his savings. He canceled the unnecessary subscriptions.
He started reading about investing, and most importantly, stopped waiting. Weeks turned into months. He didn't get rich overnight, but something inside him changed. His mindset. He no longer chased money. He built it. Months passed, and Daniel stayed true to his new path. He started small, automating just a tiny portion of his paycheck into savings. At first, it felt pointless. The number barely grew. But over time, something unexpected happened. It wasn't the money that changed. It was Daniel. He stopped feeling powerless. Every dollar he saved, every book he read, every new skill he learned, built something invisible. Confidence, control, clarity. He began to see patterns he'd never noticed before. How people spent blindly to escape their stress. How companies sold emotions, not products. And how he used to fall for all of it. He wasn't angry anymore. He was awakening. One day, during lunch at work, Daniel overheard two coworkers complaining about money. The same way he used to. It's impossible to save. The system's rigged. Daniel didn't argue. He just smiled. Because he knew something they didn't. The system isn't fair, but it is predictable. And once you understand the rules, you stop playing like everyone else. That evening, Daniel took a leap. He used part of his savings to start a small side project. Something simple. Something people laughed at. But for Daniel, it wasn't about money. It was about proof. Proof that he could create, not just consume. He worked nights, weekends, early mornings, and slowly it grew. Not fast, not flashy, but steady. Real. For the first time, Daniel wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. He was building something that belonged to him. Then one evening, he saw a familiar face. The old man from the train station, sitting on the same bench, reading the same leather-bound book. Daniel approached, smiling. "I took your advice," he said. "I started saving, learning, building. I even started something of my own." The man looked up, eyes shining with quiet pride. "And what did you learn?" he asked. Daniel thought for a moment. "That wealth isn't about money," he said softly. "It's about discipline, about not needing to escape your own life." The man nodded. "Then you've learned," he said, "the most expensive lesson of all." They sat together in silence, two men, one beginning his journey, the other who'd long walked it. When the train arrived, Daniel stood to board. He turned back. "Thank you," he said, "for everything." The man smiled faintly. "Don't thank me," he said. "Pass it on." The doors closed, the train pulled away. And for the first time in a long time, Daniel wasn't running from something. He was running toward it. Years later, Daniel's small project had become a thriving business. He employed people. He invested wisely. He traveled, not to escape, but to explore. Rich in the way people show off online. He was rich in freedom, in peace, in purpose. I like this video if it resonated with you. Share it with a friend who's ready to take control of their life. And subscribe for more stories that don't just entertain, but transform. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the story you believe about what's possible.